Hi, everyone. Welcome into another high school football season. And with another high school football season, you know what that means. CUTV's High School Roundup. Welcome into the show. I'm Stephen Ruffing, and I have two new panelists, I guess. You've seen their faces before on the hometown scoreboards, Dylan Godet and Colin Kirkwood. Fellas, it's a pleasure to have you on set.
Thanks for having us, Steve. I'm super excited. I've gotten on board with this whole Western PA football, and I'm really excited to have this season of High School Roundup.
I definitely think it's going to be a strong season of High School Roundup this year. We got some great guys here on the staff, and looking forward to starting it here today.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. A lot of great games in the high school football world out here. But first, we're going to start off with my team. You know, I'm jumping right back on it. Laurel Highlands, they played Albert Gallatin, and this time they got the win. I have the highlights for you. Yeah, like I said, they had a huge win. Coming off a loss against Washington last week, they needed this one. Connor Basinger, a guy you've heard a lot about, starts it off with just with a simple 1-yard run. That's the only touchdown of the first quarter. And then Basinger gets right back at it with a 13-yard pass to Tyler Christopher. Just powers through some guys, powers his way into the end zone, and that's the first touchdown of the second quarter. Basinger, another one to Ryan Fike. Look at this, just airs it out, toes in, touchdown. Ryan Fike with a beautiful catch on that one. You'll be seeing that play a little later as well. Connor Basinger gets it again. A nice little move, fakes that handoff. The way he plays that is unbelievable. Now, Albert Gallatin, they wanted to put some points on the board. Look, under some pressure, that was Braden Moody, gets that ball off to Jovan Davis, and he just powers and rifles his way to the end zone. He cramped up a little bit, but he walked off on his own power. Basinger again, this time on his own, a 15-yard run. Touchdown, Moody. Next up for Albert Gallatin, taking one out of Basinger's playbook, just running it straight through. And then Trent Livingston, that last name you've heard. Of course, his brother, Chad Livingston, played for Laurel Highlands as well, but now he plays for Cal. Laurel Highlands, huge 39-13 win over Albert Gallatin. Their next game is versus Montour. Albert Gallatin is versus McKeesport. Guys, it's a big win for Laurel Highlands.
Yeah, it was. You mentioned they lost to Washington, but they competed, LH did, with Washington in their week 0 matchup. I believe they're up or tied at halftime. So definitely LH, a team that's improving this year. They've been kind of mid-pack the last couple of seasons, but I think they've shown right there against Albert Gallatin, new turf there at Albert Gallatin also. They showed that they can compete here.
Yeah, looking good. Colin, this is a different Laurel Highlands team than we've seen last year. They're competing. Connor Basinger, he is now a senior, I believe, and he's just leading this Mustangs team.
Yeah, he's been looking fantastic so far throughout the beginning of this season. And like you said, opening up against Washington is no easy task for anybody to deal with, as they were so successful last season.
Right.
But I feel like he's going to be able to lead this team, and I think they're going to surprise some people this year. And I know you're already on board.
I'm on board. I've been on board. And we apologize for not having CUTV's Game of the Week graphics. We were a little busy, didn't get a chance to do a game, but we will have highlights for you next week along with more Laurel Highlands highlights. Now on to the Big 8 scoreboard. A lot of good games. Thomas Jefferson showing that they are the powerhouse, winning 62-0 over Ringgold. Greensburg-Salem 41-13 over Trinity. Dylan, this Thomas Jefferson team is back and better than ever.
Yeah, they do, and they have a huge showdown this week. We'll get to that later with a big rivalry, just teasing at that. But Greensburg-Salem, they're able to get the win. Their quarterback, Trent Patrick, threw for 3 touchdowns and ran for 3 more. I think that was 2 more, sorry there. Threw for 3 and ran for 2, and he was 7 of 8 passing. So quite an effort there. We'll have Greensburg-Salem later on in the season playing against Bell Vernon.
Yeah, I'm excited to see them play and more Big 8 scoreboards. West Mifflin, 35-0 over Indiana. Bell Vernon, 43-0 over Ambridge. Both pretty big blowouts. Colin, pick and choose. Which one do you want to talk about? That West Mifflin team, kind of a disappointing season last year. They're back,
Yeah, I think they're back, and another team that we'll see here later on in the season on CUTV's Game of the Week, and starting out their season on the right foot here. I do believe this is the first season that Indiana's in the Big 8. I'm not sure about that, but something different I noticed when you were putting these together yesterday. So definitely look for them to do something important this year.
Yeah, I mean, Bell Vernon and West Mifflin, both two pretty decent teams. Bell Vernon upset TJ last year, so it'll be interesting to see how the Big 8 turns out this year. Now, just after 1 week, we have the Big 8 standings. Of course, I guess 2 weeks some teams participated in that week 0. Thomas Jefferson up top, West Mifflin and Greensburg-Salem both tied for first. Guys, Dylan, we'll start with you. Kind of too early to tell who's going to win.
Yeah,
who's going to take the throne?
You know who the favorite's going to be is Thomas Jefferson. Like every season, they're the team that plays on in the postseason. We saw Bell Vernon last year win the regular season title, but then Thomas Jefferson beat them come the playoffs time. So I think that's going to be very competitive. You saw LH at the bottom there. They're definitely not going to be a bottom feeder in that conference. Yeah. Maybe look for Indiana to be towards the bottom. But I think LH can compete with the Bell Vernons, can compete with the Thomas Jeffersons. Again, we hinted at it. Bell Vernon and Thomas Jefferson play right off the bat week 2 this coming week. So that's going to be the showdown matchup and really set the pace for the rest of the season.
No doubt about that. The Big 8 is a powerhouse. Colin, just quickly, same thing. Thomas Jefferson coming away with first place?
I think it's a little bit too early to speculate, but if I were to pick one right now, just to be a little Jody High Roller-esque, I would probably go with
LH.
Thomas Jefferson. Definitely LH if I'm going to be Jody High Roller, but probably Thomas Jefferson if I were to be a better
Jody High Roller would not go with Thomas Jefferson.
No. All right, over to the Interstate Conference. We have some scoreboards for you over there. Interstate, Derry, close game over Freeport, 19-13. North Catholic, 41-7 over Burrell. Dylan, look at that Derry team. Pretty, just skimming away with that victory.
Yeah, definitely a close game there, 19-13. Old-fashioned football game. And that North Catholic team, they're also a team that we'll be showcasing on CUTV's Game of the Week later on this season against Elizabeth Ford. Both of those teams look to be showing down for a great matchup that will be.
Yeah, and more Big East scores. Elizabeth Forward, 33-14 over Deer Lakes. Yawk, 42-30 over Uniontown Collin. Elizabeth Forward, it's a team that we've seen, be shaky in the past. Nice win for them.
Yeah, big win for them over Deer Lakes, but I really think we should pay attention to their quarterback, Zach Benetic, who went 7 for 18, 92 yards passing, and he even does it on his feet, too. 2 touchdowns, 91 yards. Those 2 touchdowns were ran in, not thrown.
There you go. Player to look out for, and then one more score from the Big East. Mount Pleasant drops to Hopewell, 21-19. Now let's go take a look at the interstate standings. Derry up top. This one's, pretty open. Dylan, Derry up top. Maybe they stay, maybe they don't. Elizabeth Ford's another team you might want to look out for.
Yeah, Elizabeth Ford's a team that showed a lot of talent last season. I believe they made the playoffs then as well. And I think that's going to be a 3-headed race right there between North Catholic, Derry, and Elizabeth Ford. And so that matchup there we'll have on CUTV between North Catholic and Elizabeth Ford may be what the conference comes down to.
Yeah, and Colin, agree, disagree?
Definitely agree. North Catholic, big-time powerhouse. Yeah. We were very excited to be able to bring them onto our featured schedule for Game of the Week, and I think it's going to be an explosive result.
And I was looking at how many college coaches they have attending practice there just through their Twitter feed. I mean, there's a lot of attention towards that North Catholic team.
Yeah, it'll be exciting to watch. 3 very good conferences, and after the break, we have 1A scores and standings and 5A scores and standings. So please stick with us, and we will be right back on High School Roundup here on CUTV.
High school football is back on CUTV. Brownsville versus Bentworth. Upper Dauphin versus Millersburg. Charleroi versus Fraser. California versus Washington. Bell Vernon versus Greensburg-Salem. Elizabeth Ford versus North Catholic. Carmichaels versus Union. Ringgold versus West Mifflin. Beth Center versus Fraser. Catch all of the action on your home for high school football. CUTV, California University Television.
And welcome back to High School Roundup on CUTV. I'm your host, Stephen Ruffing, and sorry about that. We kind of skipped over the Interstate Conference, so we're going to take a look at those scoreboards real quick. Interstate, pretty solid. Beth Center looking good over Carmichael's 44-8. Charleroi 64-33 over the reigning champions of the Interstate, Washington. Dylan, I know you're eager to talk about this.
Saddle me up. I am on the bandwagon for Charleroi. Gino Pellegrini, I said it from the first time I saw him throw. I was with the CTV crew and we did Charleroi a couple years ago. I was like, take a look at that Gino Pellegrini. He is talented. I call him Gino Football. He threw for 5 touchdowns and 213 yards. Also had 2 rushing touchdowns, so 7 touchdowns accounted for there with Pellegrini. So he's a force, and I'm saying it right now, they're my pick to win the Interstate Conference early on in the season. That's a big win, and Washington's going to have an uphill battle now after taking that loss.
Yeah, and if you follow us on social media, Dylan put out his own little hot take segment saying that Charleroi will win this conference. Now, some more interstate scoreboards. Colin, Fraser, 36-17 over Southmoreland. Of course, McGuffey blew out Northgate 48-0. This Fraser team might be legit. Southmoreland is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, nothing to scoff at. They had a little bit of a tough season last year as we watched them play Charleroi last season on CUTV High School Football Game of the Week. But we'll be seeing Fraser twice this year on our schedule, so hopefully they turn out to be something great because we'll showcase it twice.
Yeah, I mean, just keep looking forward to that. And just one more, Shady Side Academy, 58-6 over our beloved Brownsville. Sorry, Gary, that was a tough one for them.
Brownsville has a gauntlet of a schedule this year. I feel bad for Brownsville faithful trying to rebuild that program, and they just have some tough games.
Yeah, and there's the standings right there. Again, another open one where Beth Center could take first place. Charleroi could take first place. Washington can. Brownsville can. Of course, they're starting off 0-2.
And Fraser Charleroi, our next game out west, as we go out east for High School Game of the Week. That next game will be Fraser at Charleroi. So that should be a great matchup. We'll see if Fraser is legit and see if Charleroi can continue the success that we saw against Washington.
Yeah, exactly. And now over to the Tri-County South scoreboard. Another great conference. You know, these conferences are huge. Monessen 30-20 over California, which is very, very surprising. Char Houston, Jeff Morgan 43-12. Char Houston coming away with that victory. And which one of you want to talk about that Monessen in California?
I'll jump in on that one here. We're a little bit surprised by the results of California so far in this season, losing to Monessen this past weekend and then taking a shocking loss to Beth Center the week before. But Monessen rallied from a 16-point deficit in the fourth quarter, to defeat California, and that's just uncharacteristic, guys.
Especially Monessen, disappointing season last year.
And I was looking at statistics. Coach Ryan didn't get a rushing attempt in that game. Only had 15 yards receiving. And I saw that Jelani Stafford had like 60 yards rushing, but that's just not going to cut it for California. I think you need to get the ball in your playmakers' hands. We'll have their game of the week against Washington coming up later in the season. So lots of exciting games that we have with CUTV, and that's going to be one to look out for as well.
Yeah, definitely. And more Tri-County South. West Green 41-6 over Bentworth. Avella loses to Bishop Canavan 4-18, and we'll keep moving along with Tri-County South. One more game. That was a forfeit. Mapletown, not enough numbers.
Yeah, that's kind of sad. Mapletown, their team that, I remember, was it 2 years ago, they had a running back rush for like 500 yards or something like that. A Whippeal record, I believe, in the game a couple years ago. So it's kind of sad to see. You wonder if Mapletown and Carmichael's may be combining soon because of the numbers there with Mapletown.
Yeah, you never know. Hopefully we could see a little change in that. Tri-County South standings, guys. California, a shocking position they're in right now, Colin.
Still can't believe we're looking at that, but it is early in the season, so I don't want to say that you need to sit in and get adjusted to that because I think they'll be able to turn the corner here and make some noise.
You're not used to seeing Monessen at the top of that.
No.
That too.
The top of that conference. So definitely that's going to be an interesting one to look out for as well. Can California come back? They're down the hole right now. Two losses on the season. And
just more scoreboards, I believe. I think we still have one more to go through. Yes, the Big East, 5A, Gateway 27-7 over Penn Trafford, which is very surprising. McKeesport 57-14 over Connellsville. And continuing on in the Big East, Franklin Regional 45-7 over Plum. Albert Gallatin lost to Laurel Highlands. Of course, we talked about that a little bit over the highlights. It's a different Laurel Highlands team we're seeing. They're pretty solid, and I think that has a lot to do with Basinger.
Yeah, definitely. And that 5A going to be interesting there. You saw the Franklin Regional score against Plum. Is it going to come down to Franklin Regional Gateway? We'll find out. A bit surprising there with the Penn Trafford score for sure.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, and we kind of just went right over that. But yeah, Penn Trafford, a powerhouse in the Big East. And we have one more score for the Big East. Yeah, Penn Hills 50-13 over Latrobe. And we're going to head over to our hometown, or no, the Big East standings, I'm sorry. Gateway at the top right now, but we're used to seeing Penn Trafford up there.
Yeah, we are. And Connellsville, not used to seeing them middle of the pack there.
Yeah.
So maybe they can they got a win in their first week. They took the tough loss this week. So see if they can come back. I mean, that's really the two teams that we have in that conference are close to us, are Connellsville and Albert Gallatin. So we hope to see the best out of them. Connellsville appears to be heading on the right track. They're in a tough conference area, a bit of a smaller school in a 5A, so their numbers don't really match up with that, but they're stuck there. So hopefully they can pick up some wins in conference this season.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a team that we have seen in the past, and hopefully maybe they could change things around. And now, of course, we used to do a segment for our hometown scoreboards and standings. We'll just put up a graphic for you guys for our hometown standings. Of course, Steel Valley for myself, Central Dauphin for Mr. Danny Beck, who couldn't join us today, Buchanan Upshur for Dylan, Brownsville for Gary, and Millersburg, of course, for you calling that club bottom there.
Club bottom. Look, I don't want to tease anything, but I feel like this might be the season that we see at least one victory from my humble Indians. They did put up 26 points against the Tivity BVM to start the season this year, so anything's possible. And I know Brownsville and Millersburg went at the same time. You can book it now. Pizza party in the studio.
There you go. So you're saying Brownsville's going to be club bottom this year?
I mean, with that schedule, it's going to be tough. I mean, they have Jeanette coming up. Definitely not going to be an easy game for them. So I think they have another really tough game, maybe Washington High or something. But Brownsville definitely Washington High. So at least two more losses there in the schedule. Hopefully they can squeak through some more. Yeah,
maybe Washington will slip up. You never know. Brownsville, I'm saying that they can sneak away with maybe a couple wins. I don't know if Millersburg might be club bottom. We're going to take another quick break, and after the break, we're going to have Pick'ems and our top three plays, everyone's favorite segment. So please stay tuned and stick with us here on CUTV.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
Are you a visual storyteller? The Cal Times and CUTV is looking for students with an interest in expanding their skills in photography and videography. We call it visual journalism, and we're here to offer you opportunities to learn how to shoot and edit from a wide range of events at California University of Pennsylvania. Our focus is on local coverage of sports and news events from campus and around the region. We provide on-site training as we help you develop your skills as a visual multimedia storyteller for the Cal Times newspaper and CUTV News Center. To learn more about visual journalism opportunities and join our team, visit our media production facility in the Natali Student Center or email the Cal Times at caltimes@calu.edu.
And welcome back to High School Roundup on CUTV. Of course, I'm Stephen Ruffing, and still with me, Dylan Goday and Colin Kirkwood. Guys, it's been such a pleasure to have you on the set.
Yeah,
Can't stress that enough.
I love it. I mean, I absolutely love high school football. I loved it back home in West Virginia, but now I get to talk about PA football.
Yeah.
And it's probably more exciting, I have to admit, than West Virginia football. The Whippeal takes a lot of pride in their football.
They do, and it's growing. The Whippeal is growing indeed. A lot of schools around here picking from the Whippeal. I know Duquesne and Robert Morris are two huge schools.
Speaking of Pellegrini, he's a Robert Morris commit already. So.
Exactly. I mean, those guys get some great talent over here.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's been, a little rough for me to get used to here. PIAA guy coming across the state here, but it's definitely been a great experience because you get to see so many different teams, and that's just the best part. There are so many different teams and schools to watch.
And rich tradition. I mean, look at all the NFL players that have come from just the Whitfield. So
exactly.
it's probably, all-time greats. I mean, not recently, not getting the NFL talent that we've seen in the past, but the all-time greats are from the Whitfield. So that just shows the talent that's here.
Joe Montana, Dan Marino.
Yeah.
There you go.
If you've ever heard of those,
You might not have heard of
no
them.
big deal. Either
if
of
you've
those.
ever heard of them. All right, so we're going to go into our pick'ems, and we're going to throw up the standings from last year. Danny Beck, of course, he couldn't be with us today. At the top with that 41-17 with the Twitter peeps. Now, how'd that happen?
Yeah, exactly. And look at me, club bottom there. I'm tied with a dog almost. So if that shows.
Hey, I was
Whoa.
I was running last place. Or that Collins dog was above me through most of the season. And Anthony, who's in studio, he's back. Welcome back, buddy. He's that third place spot with a pretty decent record with 39-19. But that's our standings from last year. And Colin, another decent record for you.
Not bad, 38-20, first season, making picks. I think I'm going to challenge for the top this year.
Well, all right. Let's see. You might have to battle with Stevie.
I want to know who would have gone with Charleroi over Washington if we would have picked them last week.
Yeah.
I know even I'm on Charleroi bandwagon. I don't know if I would have picked that game. So maybe that would have been a Jody High Roller pick.
Maybe it would have been a high roll pick of the week. What's that?
Not afraid to take risks there, Steve.
Well, exactly. Sometimes you got to risk it to get the biscuit. All right, so let's go right into our pick'ems. The first game is Trinity versus West Mifflin. We all have West Mifflin except for Danny.
Yeah, and I'm going to go with West Mifflin. They showed a great game this past weekend, getting a lot of points. So with West Mifflin, there's the team. They kind of had a down year last year, but they look to be coming back full force with high-powered offense, what it looks like.
Well, I'm going to be completely honest with you on this one. I looked at both of these teams, and I enjoy the color blue. And
man.
I thought West Mifflin's got a cool blue, so that was
Trinity
it.
has a blue too.
Yeah, West Mifflin is a
Cooler blue.
cooler blue.
Okay.
It's not the royal blue like Trinity.
Okay.
Yeah,
West Mifflin's got kind of
See,
a lighter
he
blue.
knows.
Okay, all right, like a little
I
powder.
know my colors.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. All right, next game for our pick'ems, Beth Center versus Brownsville. Hey, buddy, you already know this is the high roll of the week, but let's look at the two of you picking. There it is, high roll of the week. Bank it, baby, but you two picked the smarter decision and went with Beth Center.
Yeah, Best Center, they got the win over Cal. They have some players, like I mentioned on that Twitter. Look at our Twitter tease after this. Dominic Fundy, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with from Best Center. So definitely against Brownsville. I'm projecting for him to get somewhere between 150, 200 yards against that Brownsville defense.
Okay, that's fair. High roll of the week. Brownsville's going to come away with the win. Colin, are you sure there's still time to go to the other side?
Oh, no, I'm completely sure on this one. After watching how many points they put in the bank against California, I think you can take this one to the bank as well and lock up a victory here.
Brownsville should have had that win against Bentworth, though. Going back to that game week 0, the
Fired
first
up.
half, they looked great. So Brownsville, I don't think, like we're talking about club bottom, I don't think Brownsville's staying there this year.
I don't think so
I think they
either.
get 2 to 3 wins probably there from Brownsville. But they do have a tough schedule.
Yeah, they do. They do. All right, next game for our pick'ems. TJ versus Bell Vernon. This is going to be a heck of a game.
Yeah, you know how I feel about the Leopards there at Bell Vernon. I love the Leopards. They probably have some bitter taste in their mouth after having such a great regular season, beating TJ the first time and then losing to them in the playoffs. So Bell Vernon, they don't have quite the star power that they had last year, but a lot of returning talent have put some points on the board against their win against Ambridge. So again, that's going to be a showdown. It kind of stinks that it's at the beginning of the year where you don't have both these teams kind of fighting for playoff contention, but it's still going to be a great game, and I have to go with Bell Vernon.
Yeah, Dylan, you're a little biased, not to
I'll
throw you
admit
under
it.
the bus.
I love Bell Vernon, a huge fan of the Leopards.
All right, you're biased. Now, Colin, I know you're an unbiased. You're the middleman in this situation.
I try to be unbiased here.
Yeah, why Bell Vernon?
Well, as you said, they did come away with the victory the first time when they met last year, and I feel like they now know what they need to do to take down this powerhouse TJ unit. So I think that should they be able to rekindle the magic from last year, maybe, and a little bit of revenge dashed in there too from that open wound of playoff loss last year.
Yeah, it's going to be a very, very exciting matchup. Next game for our Pick'ems, California versus Avella. And you know what? This wouldn't be surprising last year, but it's kind of surprising now that all of us are going with California after those 2 losses.
Yeah, I just saw the reason I went with Cal is because I think they're originally going to have to turn it around because they're too talented not to. So look for Coach East Ryan to kind of make a statement, the junior there for California. But Avella, they just haven't looked strong in their first couple games this season.
Yeah, you're right. You call them the same thing. You agree?
Oh yeah, definitely the same thing. Turnaround game here for the Trojans.
All right, next game. I think this is, no, not our last one just yet. McGuffey versus Frazier. Everyone's all across the board. Yeah, I'm with McGuffey on this one. Colin is also with McGuffey, and Dylan, you're with Frazier, and that might not be a bad choice.
Yeah, Frazier's looked talented so far. They have this game against McGuffey. You hope they're not looking forward to that Charleroi game, so I'm hoping for a Frazier win because that'll set up a great high school game of the week.
Yeah, for sure. Next game on our Pick'ems, Montour versus Laurel Highlands, and I believe this is our last game that we're doing for the Pick'ems. Danny has Montour, and all of us have Laurel Highlands.
I mean, like you said, you're a homer for LH, like I'm a homer for Bell Vernon. So I'm going to go with LH. I'm a big fan of Connor Basinger.
Yeah.
He's right up there with Pellegrini, 2 of the best quarterbacks in the Whitfield. So great to have him here, showcased on high school roundup.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. We have a bunch of good games there, Colin, to pick from.
Oh yeah, a lot of good games to pick from. It's going to be a great season. Can't wait.
Yeah, definitely will. All right, so the top 3 plays, Dylan, you're gonna take control over these ones. Like we said, CUTV didn't do their game of the week, so it's all Laurel Highlands, baby.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're not upset about that. But there were some great highlights in this game, so let's jump right into it. The first play is going to be a here, top 3 plays. Again, thank you to Red Dogs there for coming on board and sponsoring that. So let's get into number 3 right here. Connor Basinger. We mentioned his name a lot. Takes it up the middle here, fakes the handoff, runs right up the gut there on the option read, and dives into the end zone. Great run there by Connor Basinger. Next is a pass play here from Albert Gallatin. Albert Gallatin making their way in the top 3 plays. It's like an old-fashioned screen play. Fake the toss, screen pass right across the left side of the field. Braden Moody hits Javon Davis, and Davis breaks some tackles, makes a spin move, breaks another tackle, and gets into the end zone with another diving touchdown. Next is number 1, and this is quite the play as Basinger drops back the pass. Look at him, just trying to find an open man, rolls out to his right, throws in the back of the end zone, pretty ball, and the diving pass catch is made there. So another great play, blue ribbon play. If you haven't had the chance to see this play yet, it is quite the play. This is from our first game there in week 0. Brownsville's quarterback drops back the pass, but Jacob Kisner tips the pass and catches it miraculously. We'll have another slow-mo view of this. As Kisner jumps up, tips it to the right hand, and the left hand there just resting right on the ground to get that ball, and he makes the catch. So it's going to be tough to top that blue ribbon play.
Yeah, it might be staying there for quite some time. I thought that Laurel Highlands catch was going to make it in the blue ribbon. You know that.
It's tough. They're both kind of equal there, but it's just it's kind of luck. It's a lot of talent in that catch there from Bentworth, but I mean, he tipped it with his right and just somehow pins the ball between his hand and the ground. So quite the catch.
Yeah, it was. And that was from our game of the week. And our next game of the week, we're doing something a little different. We're heading out to Colin, your neck of the woods, your alma mater. I guess, yeah, that's right. Millersburg versus Upper Dauphin. It's going to be a good one. Millersburg with a win.
I'm hoping it's going to be Millersburg with a win here. You guys are lucky. You're going to get to see one of the oldest and proudest rivalries that Upper Dauphin County has to boast. They've been meeting since before the Upper Dauphin area became what it was because there are 2 towns, Elizabethville and Likens, and they don't like each other very much. The history runs very deep between the 2 of them, but I won't bore you with the details. But long-standing rivalry. It's going to be a fun time on Friday.
I'm very excited for it. And, I'm very excited for this season of High School Roundup. Guys, any last words?
I'm excited for that game as well. Cool to head out east, and they've shown a lot of support for us via Twitter. Both of those schools kind of promoting the game for us. So should be a great online attendance for anybody that can't make the game, especially all the people out west that aren't going to a game and want to watch our game. We should be live on YouTube pinning some 4G. But like you mentioned, with our high school games of the week, some absolutely fantastic matchups heading up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. I can't wait. Let's get underway.
I'm very
Exactly.
excited. Thank you, guys. It's another great show. That's all we have for you for this week. Thank you to everybody in the studio. Welcome back, Anthony. You're only here for a little bit. Thank you to our director, and thank you, guys, for Colin Kirkwood, for Dylan Goodday. I'm Stephen Ruffing, and we'll see you next week, folks.